You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done.
Okay.
Hello out there in podcast land. Welcome to Biz-Souls, where
We get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen. And hopefully we can give you some wisdom along the way.
hopefully, and some humor here and there, perhaps. We try.
Yeah,
If not, we'll just make it up just to make it laugh.
So what's our topic today, Rona?
Well, Jeffrey, we should probably introduce ourselves before, and just in case it's your first time listening, I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
Yes, and if you haven't heard, this is Biz-Souls. Okay, so today we are chatting about employee retention.
Dum, da, dum, dum.
Yeah,
Keeping those employees. You hire them, you want to keep them.
Well, they've been, everybody's talking about the Great Resignation and quiet quitting and yada, yada, yada. And I said, you know what? We should probably talk about this.
Okay, so we're
We should
talking
probably
about
talk about it.
All right, so
Just talk about it.
So let's
yeah.
jump into it. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about what's changed.
Well, I mean, why are they
Well, no,
doing
we're
it?
gonna-
Why?
I'm interrupting you.
We are interrupting.
We'll get back into that.
We
We're
are,
going to talk
yeah.
about what's changed. We're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes people make, and
Yeah.
we're also going to talk about some tips for success,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, those are the three areas. And going back to point one, what has changed and why? So when I was first taking notes on this and writing down my thought, I was like, well, hello, Captain Obvious. It's because of the pandemic and the fact that it has brought things to light and, just shown that change is not a bad thing,
No, what do you mean changes?
Well, yeah, people working, how we've worked has changed. People have to flip how we think about doing business, and the old guard corporate heads kind of fear change. No, everybody has to be in the office. Do they? And
So are we? Well, and that has an impact on employee retention. I
Right.
mean, employee expectations are different. I don't think it's just because of the pandemic. I think it was something that's been working around for a while. First of all, the younger generations, their expectations, at least in their mind, are different.
Yes, they want a 2-day work week.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that? Yeah, that 4-hour work week. Is that the name of the book?
Well, what happens is when I think when you get change, then people take advantage of that and they figure there's momentum with the change, so let's change some other things. And they've also done studies and they found out that, working too much and then work-life balance, life has changed, so
Right.
then work has. Am I keeping you up?
Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
No, I did not sleep very well.
By the way, if any friends that are having trouble sleeping at night, just have them listen to the podcast or listen to
That's
me.
right. Because Jeffrey can pontificate, can't he?
We're better than drugs. It's social media has changed, so they have more. It's easier to switch jobs now. I think that's a huge impact.
Well, it is easier. Yes, and no. It's been crazy. Are we in a recession? Are we not in a recession? The job market or the job market, depending on what part of the country you're from, the job market.
I keep my job in a jar.
Yeah, has been fairly healthy, which is weird. And I think part of it is because some people just decided just to retire. Maybe some of the baby boomers decided to retire, and so there's more job openings, and the people are realizing that I'm worth more than this. So that's part of what's causing all this change, and the fact that companies do need to do something else if they want to keep their employees.
Right, and I think they've been addressing some of those things.
Some of them,
haven't
yes, they have.
So what's going on stat-wise, Rona? You did some research on this, and you found out some stuff. While you look that up, I'm going to sit here and what am I going to do?
And take a nap while I speak.
Exactly. The idea. Look, employee retention is important because it costs companies money when they leave. And so that's why the companies would be interested in it. And employees are leaving because things are changing. I mean, look what's going on at Twitter. So a lot of people are resigning, and a lot of the people that aren't resigning, a lot of them are getting kicked out of their job because of new ownership. So Elon is making changes to it, and hopefully it's a guiding light for free speech. I guess that's what he's doing.
I am not going to put my opinion into that because yes, I believe in free speech, and I think there has to be a good balance. That's all I will say about that.
And I'm not going to let it rest. I'm going to bring this up and drive her absolutely nuts. So
because that's the only reason he would ever drive me absolutely nuts. Okay, so we digress. I'm just going to throw out some percentages and stats. I have like bucket O of them, so I'm not going to do every single one. On the average, 4 million Americans are quitting or have quit, because it's the end of 2022, each month in 2022. And there are, even by the end of 2021, over 47 million Americans left their jobs. This was in the middle of the pandemic. 94% of those who quit their jobs in 2021 say it was at least somewhat easy to very easy for them to find a job. So if they didn't get exactly what they want, they're like, I'm out of here. And 40,
that gives them control. I mean, when people are nervous or they're worried or something's changing, sometimes people, fine, if you're going to change, they want to take control of that change. So if you're going to change the way we do things around here, I'm going to change where I'm working.
Right. And that's a sign to the C-level that they're not paying attention, or even managers aren't paying attention. If someone's leaving and it's that easy to leave, why wouldn't you want to do something to keep your people? You know what? We actually did a podcast on a related subject last year about the cost of hiring new employees, and it can be 75% of the yearly salary of an employee just to replace them, and then they have to pay them on top of that. So it's expensive for companies to replace people.
Well, not only that, companies are also measuring everything nowadays, or trying to measure, or they think they're measuring everything. And one of the things they measure for managers is what was the turnover in that department.
Right.
So the managers themselves don't want the turnover, and sometimes their hands are tied. They can't give raises. They don't want to give raises. Or, again, Elon with Twitter, you can buy a commercial pizza oven on fire sale because he is tearing some of that stuff out, and he's changing the work environment. It's not going to be as cozy and sweet there. It's going to be much more work oriented.
Crack that whip.
Well, and maybe productivity. It's I don't know. I'm all about creativity. Anyway.
42% of those who left their old job and found a new one in 2021 say their benefits have improved. And that's what a lot of people want. They want better benefits, and that's it's part of the package that people don't always think about. That can be up to like 33% of the value of your new job.
Sure. And this isn't new, though. Back in the 80s, I was part of it. Yeah, you weren't even born yet, obviously.
Good answer.
Yeah, really.
I'll give you $1 later.
You always knew that if you switched a job, this was something, the generation before us, my father, it was like you go work at a company for your life and that lifelong employment at a certain company. And I just, the stats were already coming out, and the magazines are promoting. If you change jobs, you generally got pay increases, you got benefit increases, you got promotion increases. When I was working at Apple, even I was doing the sales, they weren't the greatest paying company in the world.
Right.
So my next job paid more, and the next job after that paid even more, and the next job after that paid even more.
Well, of course, when I first graduated college, and advertising and media is not known for their great pay, and so I had to I worked 7 days a week for a year. I worked as a sales assistant. And then on weekends, I sold memberships at Jack LaLanne Health Spa.
Wow, my mom was a huge Jack LaLanne fan.
Yeah, so and then I became a media buyer, and I got paid. It was quite a jump. So I dropped the weekend job and I'm like, wow, what do I do? I didn't know what to do those 2 off days. I was
So the new generation's just copying what we did.
yeah. Well, you know what?
You know?
It's just like fashion. Now everything from the 90s is back in again. Boot cuts we call bell bottoms. So it's the same thing with jobs. Think of something on your own, kids. Just saying. Gosh.
Well,
we have to lead you in everything.
They got to learn themselves too. So
Yeah.
it's just the way it goes.
Oh my God, please don't bring giant shoulder pads back ever again. I'm just saying.
Why?
Okay.
They were great. They were
Oh
great
my
in
God.
suits. Oh my gosh, they were great in suits. Anyway,
Couldn't
getting back.
get through doors with my shoulders. Go ahead.
So why did people leave though? Why were they leaving?
Well, there were 4 major reasons. We were just talking about it. There's a ton of job openings, especially food service, hospitality, leisure accommodations, things like that. What? Stop playing with me. Sorry. Oh, if you're just listening to this, he was. Let me elucidate on that. He was moving me back from my microphone.
I'm monitoring our sound, and the pitch is going up and up, and we're breaking into the red zone left and right, or at least Rona is. So I'm trying to move her back, and she's going, "What? What are you doing?"
Yes, and I can't even go to HR because the HR here is my dog, Roscoe. And he just looks at Jeffrey and like, well, give me a piece of bagel and I'll be on your side.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so all these businesses, they let everyone go during the pandemic because nobody was traveling, nobody was going to restaurants, and now everybody, all the restaurants and the hotels and things like that, they're all hiring people back. And
well, I'm sorry I cut you off. Did you have something to finish?
Interrupting me again.
It's okay.
And yeah, it's just easy to go back. And serve people for, who doesn't want a 35% tip? Because that happens all the time, huh?
Where did that come
I'm
from?
just
What
saying,
are you talking about?
Weren't you ever a waiter or a bartender?
Oh, a 35. Yeah, I never saw one of those.
Right, me neither. So it was more like 7.
Well,
because I wouldn't, go out with them or whatever.
Well, I also, in social media, there's been all this hype about being an entrepreneur and running your own company. And,
A lot of people
kudos to a lot of, and some people have been very successful, and there's never been a better time to do on your own.
Right.
The quote that from the gal on Facebook said, if you've got a cell phone and Wi-Fi, you can make money. And you can. The gal, I don't remember her name.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway,
so that's one.
Well, the thing is, though, I think they're finding out, though, it's not so easy and it's not so cool.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, and besides, people are like social. I mean, I'm fine. I put a water cooler in my place, so I felt more like hanging around the water cooler.
Oh, did you? I actually put my name on my food in the refrigerator, so I would feel like I'm at work. And I live alone, so that's a little scary. So
well, I've always worked at home, on the road a lot though.
Yeah.
So sometimes when during the pandemic, I'd just get out and drive around, so I'd feel like I go find traffic somewhere.
So during the pandemic, there wasn't any traffic though. You must have been driving around for a long time.
Exactly.
All right.
And we do things because we like the work environment. There are things.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do managers do to get rid of people? I mean, to chase people away.
Well, we only went over 4 reasons. One reason of the why you asked me why the Great Resignation was happening. He got so into his stories that he forgot I only gave him one answer. So there are actually 3 others, and just real quick, and we talk about this all the time: the burnout, remote work, and their priorities are changing. You were just talking about work-life balance,
right?
And I believe in just life balance, and so those are the other 4. So I just wanted to get those out there because it's not just the job.
So that was their reasons for leaving.
Those are the 4 major reasons why people are leaving. So now we can go to point 2.
Okay. So, what do managers do, or what do supervisors or leadership or executives do to chase people away?
Well, they're wacky in what they want. All their expectations and their choices are off, up and down. And so there's no stability, employees can't.
You mean like walking around a newly acquired company with a sink? You know, is that erratic behavior? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
kind of. Yeah. Well, 'cause,
Elon, really, I love you. She's just picking on you.
but yeah, if people don't know what their bosses want, they
Right.
can't get anything done.
Well, and that erratic behavior creates fear, and we talk about fear all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the ways to get control if you're fearful at a job is to leave.
Leave. That's right.
Make like a tree and leave,
I've
as they
had
say.
it. I've had it
All right,
with you
what's
people. Oh, micromanagement.
What's another one?
Micromanagement. That's
Micromanagement.
yes. Didn't I just say that?
I don't know. I thought you were micromanaging me.
No, Mike. It's like a helicopter mom. Put on a sweater. I'm cold.
Well, how do you train people? I mean, you have to
You have to-
micromanage people a little sometimes,
well-
maybe.
If you hire these people, you have to trust them to do the job.
If they've
I
never
would
done
say
the job.
that's a different story. That's when you coach or teach them and then let them do it.
Well, there are also so many skills. I mean, they have to have not only have technical skills, they have to have emotional intelligence. They have to be able to question. They have to be able to not upset people at work, I guess.
Excuse me. And no one's going to be perfect in that because we all come with our own crap. And by looking over people's shoulder all the time. I remember when I was at the Colorado Springs Gazette-Telegraph when I was when I come in, they had just changed management, and the new management was just oh, she's from New York. They judge me from the word go, and they did not like the way I did business. So I remember one day one of the VPs who had almost no background in what she was brought over to do came over to listen to me on the phone to make sure that I was selling correctly. And, and I was like, well, how long you been selling? Oh, well, 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So,
They were
yeah.
They were an expert at 6 months of selling.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
So I'm on the phone and they're listening to me, and I see her. It was a she, and she's kind of raising her eyebrows and like taking notes. And I got off the phone. I said, "Did you learn anything?" Let me do my job.
Well, that's also bias as well as micromanagement. I mean, she just had a bias against people. She thought people from New York, pushy.
Knew everything, and we do.
Pushy, loud,
And your
have
point?
to turn the mic. Yeah, okay.
So
anyway.
Yeah. So another one is
It's a different style.
It's a definite. And overall, just management needs to, you can pay attention, just don't look over people's shoulders so that it makes them nervous.
Right.
Then another one is just being transparent. When you hide information and knowledge, people can't get their work done.
Well, a lot of people are talking about transparency. I'm not really seeing it. I've still, this group this organization I belong to, this group got elected to the board, and they keep talking about transparent. They're no more transparent than anybody else. They're just putting out the same stuff, and they talk about being open, and they're not. Same backstories, same stuff, and they're still not sharing the financials that they need to share.
What was that?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so it's fear.
Yeah.
And they feel like they have to keep control. When the more trust you put in your people, the less they will leave.
Well, and that's the thing. It's a back and forth thing, I think. The employees have a mistrust for management. Management has a mistrust for the employees. And part of it is because the employees aren't necessarily delivering, or they're not, maybe the quality of work isn't established.
You okay there?
Sorry, it was.
You have trouble. First day with a new throat.
Look, I had a good lunch yesterday, and I just wanted to taste it again.
That's appealing. I hope no one's eating while they're listening.
All right.
Okay. So another big one is not investing in you or valuing your employees.
Right. Well, one of the ways you can value them is get them training.
Exactly.
And yet, some of the average company only spends about 2% on training.
Yeah.
And that includes all the mandatory training. We're not even talking about the training that people really could benefit by. such as, communication skills, better management skills, better emotional intelligence, negotiation, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, and when I started going up the corporate ladder, I didn't have the training that I got when I first became a salesperson.
Right.
I went through Sandler sales. I went through like every sales job I had a different sales training.
Right.
And as soon as I hit management level, nothing. It was like, here's your promotion, ready, go. Okay,
Here's the thing, though. I mean, is a company, should they, part of this, because I'm caught in this, is a company responsible? Should the company be telling you where to go get training and make it so easy for you to go? Shouldn't you have a little motivation, self-motivation to go get it yourself? I mean, I didn't wait around. Well, actually, no, that would be...
you lied.
Yeah, that would be no. When I first got there, I was dealing so much with work, and there were so many new things. I really didn't ask for it. I fortunately had a manager, a guy named Dan Evans, great guy, still in business, still doing well. He was just an unbelievable manager, and he was getting an education for us, and he was the one who was developing us, and he was the one who made it me aware that that was something that you should have your own incentive for doing it. And so I just got lucky by having a good manager.
Yeah. Not everyone has that, and yes, I was able to go into my VPs and ask them questions, things like that. But we didn't have anything like, AMA, American Management Association,
Right.
where you could take classes, multi-day classes. If you don't know them, you should check them out because they're very good.
Excellent. Yeah, no. Career Trek was around at the time.
Yeah.
They offered seminars. So was National Seminars. A bunch of other training companies.
Yeah.
I think one of them is still around. I don't know much about them.
And then interrupting them, thinking they're the smartest
I
person
don't know
in
where
the room.
nobody ever interrupts.
Yeah, it's a horrible habit.
Rona,
and
where
don't
did
you
you
think
get that?
I don't see what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
And when managers or hire interrupt their employees, the employees just feel like, why am I saying anything? Or just poo-pooing them or giving them the but versus the and stuff,
So that's it's a bit of a problem, and part of the problem is that the managers don't know how to manage their time well. They let the employees put the monkey on their back, so to speak. So they end up with too many things to do. So they have a tendency to be time oriented and rushed. And if somebody's taking a long time to do something, then they may interrupt them.
And to that note, what I used to do, and it was amusing, and my people got their point. Rona, can I talk to you for a second? All right, you know what? I'll give you 30. I got a lot to do. What's up? And they would smile, and they knew that get it out. I don't have time for pleasantries, because when I did have time, I wouldn't do that.
A lot of times though, that's good. What you did was great. The problem is, along with it goes the thought of, so now you're taking too long within 30 minutes. So they say they're going to give them time, and then they really don't give them, or they start getting impatient, or start looking at, or they're not listening correctly.
Right.
So,
they have to put down their, as if you're a manager and you're listening, or higher, or put down your pen, put down the paper, and if you're visual, look at them,
Exactly.
so that they know that they are being heard.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Those are great. And I'm sure there are more reasons.
Oh, there
for
are. And I'm just naming
Yeah.
a few. So shall we go on to the tips for success?
Yeah, I like that.
So,
I like that.
All right. So we actually mentioned this earlier about teaching your managers to coach employees.
Okay.
Get them to let their employees do it and coach them through it and not micromanage.
So is this the C-suite teaching the managers to teach their employees?
Yeah. That.
Okay. So the managers, one of the trainings then managers should get would be how to coach, or how to mentor.
Right.
And the difference between the two.
Absolutely. Yes.
And a lot of people don't even know the
Thank
difference
you.
between
You
the
said
two.
that much better than I did. And then, yeah.
Well, that's because, no, we won't even go. I don't even have a joke. I almost
Giving him
stepped
the
into
evil
it. Yeah,
eye.
really.
It's
Okay.
like, go ahead,
All
try
right.
something.
Yeah. I was trying to come up with a funny. I couldn't.
That's okay.
All right.
And that is related to investing in the employees' careers, showing them that you value them.
Right. Sign them up for a podcast like Biz-Souls,
That's right.
where they can learn all kinds of things.
There you go. And they can listen during their off time from their 3-day week.
Exactly. Because, yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Well, we already said prioritize work-life balance. Make
Right.
sure that, if the manager or whoever is their superior starts to email and text them on weekends, that's not prioritizing life balance. Or at 10:30 at night, unless someone needs something to, if there's blood involved, maybe,
Yeah, and an open environment is good. There needs to be more discussion on this. And what's happening is people are talking about either stay at home, work at home, or come into the office.
Right.
And there's a lot of in between stuff, and there could be a lot of flex involved with it.
Yeah.
One of the good things about working at home is that you can get stuff done. You can prioritize and systemize your day.
Well, and that's the other big point, I think, is that, prioritizing the hybrid and remote work
Right.
options and giving them that flexibility. It's like, what? I have a kid who I have to pick up from school every day. So I'm going to start work at 7 and then end at 2:30 so I can be at my kids'
Right.
school to pick them up, whatever. That was also one of the things when I was dealing with my salespeople. Look, if you make your numbers, I don't care if you're in the office, out of the office, spend 3 days in, wherever, get it done well. And the rest, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great opportunity. Companies should really look at their meeting schedule because everybody complains about too many meetings.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the meetings are all scattered, and that's one of the things they haven't addressed. So people have as many meetings at home, and they're not able to get stuff done. We need to rethink the meeting thing. So maybe there should be like a meeting priority or something like that.
Well,
or
and what's really good is
it's a whole creative session.
once you're on Zoom, you can have, a 2 martini lunch, and you don't have to worry about going anywhere.
Yes, absolutely.
And it can last until dinner.
Yes. Rona's trying to bring back the 2 martini
There
lunch
you go.
from the 50s. Oh, my God. Great. Oh, I love it. Just like fashion, everything comes back
Everything
around.
comes back around. There you go. Oh, that's funny. So those are just some of the tips that we have learned, and I've researched and had experience with when I deal with when we go do programs and we speak with HR people and employees. How are you liking it here and all that. And these are some of the answers, good and bad that we get from them.
Yeah, to summer it up. To summer it up.
He's already on his second martini from after lunch. So go.
That's not true. It's
Third.
Not true.
He's on his third.
Oh, my God.
I'm kidding.
Really? You throw me under the... Wow.
I know.
This
That's
is
tea. That's
and
he's
it
drinking
says
tea.
Wow. Wow events, too. They were
Okay.
great.
Anyway.
The pandemic really hurt them. No, the summary is it's about conversations, and it's about having heartful conversations and rethinking. If the world has really changed, we need to have discussions about it, because right now there's a lot of frustration and people are kind of complaining. That's what I'm seeing more. There's complaints rather than people talking about and having a real creativity session, a real innovative
Right.
session. And people are jumping right to the judgment part.
Less kvetching, more creativity.
Yeah, there you go.
That's our new motto.
There you go. Excellent, Rona.
And it's about being proactive. It's about active listening,
Yes.
because people listen to respond, not to
Correct.
understand, and that's the only way everyone's going to get on the same
Correct.
page, that everyone feels respected and trusted, and and there you go.
Absolutely.
All right.
So
There
they
you have
need
it.
work in critical thinking, communication, the ability to have a good dialogue, healthy conflict, all those things.
We do that
Those
stuff.
Yes, of course we do.
Anyway, So
All right.
That's it for us. That's our story. We're sticking to it. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and thank you, Rona, for putting this podcast together. It's great. And you may not be wiser from this podcast. You are definitely a little older, though.
Screw you. All right. See you later.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.